Board of Trustees regular meeting for August 19th at 2025 at 6 p.m. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Supervisor File?
Here.
Clerk Newbeck here. Treasurer Brown?
Here.
Trustee Hayward?
Here.
Trustee Morocco?
Here.
And Trustee Tedder and Trustee Nalamathu are absent this evening, and we do have a quorum.
Great. Okay, can I get a motion, please, to approve the agenda as stated?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, board and public comment announcements. The board has an opportunity to make any comments that are not related, as well as the public, to any item that is not on the agenda tonight. If you decide to speak, come up to the podium, give your name and address, and know that you are limited to 5 minutes and the board does not respond. But I'll start with the board first. Does the board members have any comments? Clerk?
Mark your calendars. Independence Township Parks and Rec and seniors have several exciting events coming up. First, the Soggy Doggy will be held on August 26th at Deer Lake Beach. This is our opportunity for you to bring your furry friend to the beach to swim, play, and socialize. The second event is the Mom to Mom sale being held on September 13th at Brady Lodge in Baycourt Park. The one-day sale is the perfect way to purchase children's clothes and items at an affordable price. Finally, enjoy live music every Wednesday night at Brady Lodge starting on August 20th through September 10th. For more details on these and other programs, please go to our website and visit the Parks and Rec and Senior Department section. And that's all I have.
Anybody else on the board? No? Okay, I'll open it up to the audience. Any audience member that has any comments that are not related to the items on the agenda? Yep, please come up to the podium. Just give your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Ann Evans. Address is 7943 Bridge Valley. I can't see everybody. I'm not here tonight to complain, but I am here to offer some solutions to the congestion at Bluegrass and M15. So I hope you hear me out. Many have raised safety concerns about the amount of traffic and cars turning onto M15 from Bluegrass, which is why you have closed it down. One solution I feel is fairly simple, and I would like to explain. When you're traveling north on 75 and you get off on that long ramp, you can go left or right, heading north on M15. You'll notice that when you head north, there are certain times that you cannot turn right on red, between 3 and 7, Monday through Friday. And due to the amount of traffic during those times that's headed north, it's a safety concern. I would like to propose the same thing for traffic heading southbound, getting off at M15. There's a light there, correct, which is why we can't put another light close to Bluegrass, where when it turns green, you can turn left, or you can turn right by the gas station. You guys follow me? You know where I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So the problem there is that anybody can turn, right on red. So I would like to have that same system duplicated. I think it would be easy to do. So when the light turns red for those people exiting and there's gaps in the flow of traffic towards town, it's very easy to do that. I did a little non-scientific study this morning. I sat at the Fifth Tavern from 6:30 to 7:30 to count the number of cars turning right on red, heading southbound, getting off at M15. Some have to wait at the light to turn left, but to go right toward town, you can turn right on red. I counted and I did it in 15-minute increments for an hour, 87 cars turned right on red. And as a result, any gaps for cars trying to get out of Bluegrass, it's always been a challenge. For the 30 years I've gone down Bluegrass, it's like playing jump rope. You got to find your time to get in. So with those 87 To me, that's 87 opportunities that somebody could have exited off of Bluegrass, possibly. So where do we go from here? We all know that school starts Monday. There will be dozens of parent and student drivers trying to get to Clarkston Road, to get to the high school and Everest Academy. Traffic will definitely need have an increase in volume, but I'm really looking for a permanent solution. Here's what I'm asking from you as our elected board. And also new information has come out that they are closing that ramp till October 24th. But permanently, I am asking that you look into no turn on red for those cars going southbound, exiting onto M15 to turn right toward town. So that Bluegrass people can efficiently get out. I mean, that's the way it should be. My second request of you is that you immediately open Bluegrass and relieve the gridlock that you have put on the Deer Lake Farm residents and all the Holcomb corridor residents and others beyond. And until signage can be posted, maybe have an Oakland County Sheriff help during those rush hour times. And maybe there needs to be an evening time too. I don't know. I haven't sat out there and counted those cars then. Finally, I would appreciate any communication from the board in terms of this recommendation, where you're going to go from here, because to me it's a simple solution. I understand why they turned down the traffic light. I can't imagine that they would turn down a no turn on red getting off of there, which would leave gaps for people to exit. Again, there were 87 cars that exited this morning headed toward town, where people were trying to get out of, and there were still plenty of cars coming out of Bluegrass, by the way. I didn't have time to count them. So thank you, and I hope to hear from somebody.
Can I just ask a question? Before you leave tonight, can you get us your email address?
I sure will. I sent you an email, Chuck, about a month ago after the last meeting, and I hadn't heard back.
Did I respond?
No, you did not. So you have my email, but I'll send it to you again.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Okay, I'll close the, how about online? Anybody online? Comments about anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, I don't see anyone. So I'm going to close public comments at 6:07. Now we're going to go to, or that was board public announcement, public comments. Kind of already did those. Public hearings, presentation. Let's go to the presentation, H. And that we're going to have from our treasurer, Paul Brown, for the 2025 Township Investment Report.
Good evening. I'll probably be able to make this a fairly quick presentation. There's a few, I think, good things we can point out, and I think the board's getting used to seeing these, and so I'll jump right in. As I typically do, we talk about the current environment out there. When we look at what's happening with interest rates, it's a guessing game, although I think it's pretty likely rates will start coming down next year. And on the chart here, there's a couple things that have changed. You'll see here that I've got 7% now out over 3 years. And one of the things I've talked about in the past reporting is that as we approach that time period where interest rates are going to start declining, we want to be positioned to put some money farther out and start taking advantage of the higher interest rates. I've got several million that I put out in June that's at 4.68% for 5 years. And the goal of that is to put ourselves in a position to continue to get these better interest rates over the next 3 to 4 or 5 years to take advantage of where the rates are right now, with the likelihood they're going to be dropping fairly soon and coming into next year. Credit rating, this is obviously a big change. I think everyone knows that the U.S. Rate has been dropped from AAA to AA. So you see we don't have any AAA. So what you're looking at is all AA, and those are U.S. Treasuries. I think those are still the safest investment in the world. And, right now, it's not having any kind of an impact on us. Up here, you'll see unrealized losses have now reversed, and I'll go to the next page so you can sort of see the history of this. As expected, and I know I've always talked about that, our losses will decline. A large percentage of these happened when we locked into some items back in 2021 that had 0.5% interest rates, and then interest rates went up. So when that happens, the market value of those holdings declines significantly. At one point, we had about 1.3 million in unrealized losses. Now, those would go up and down a bit. We've been pretty steady with dropping, and now this last period, we're actually with unrealized gains. I do expect to see unrealized gains continue to increase as we put money further out. When interest rates drop down, I'm going to have unrealized gains on those long-held investments that are earning 4.6%. The market's pretty smart, so I know some people will say, well, should you sell it and take the gain? But if I sell it and take the gain, I'm going to get a lower interest rate on whatever I put it in. So you could try to play that and maybe do a little better, but my primary goal is to protect principal and not to ignore that to try and get a better return. So I look at those things, and my investment advisory committee obviously weighs in and looks at this, and they have approved me bringing this at our last meeting. They like what I'm doing, and so that's that piece. Up at the top section here, average weighted yield's up over 4%, and my average weighted maturity went from 0.5, so about a half a year, to 0.7 from the last quarter. It's a pretty significant increase, but again, that's a reflection of me having put money out at 5 years, because up till now, I've been staying fairly short because there was an inverted yield curve, and what that means is you're getting better rates for short money than you were for long. It's really unusual. And so that's now starting to change a little bit, and it's getting a little closer to being even. So that the impact of me putting that money out is a big increase in our average weighted maturity and the average weighted yield. We'll jump into the holdings. And again, this is a piece, and I know one of the things I said I would change was to actually put the names on some of the checking accounts we have. So you'll see we have an account that when we sell on eBay, the money goes into that account. There's the tax account. There's the general account. That was a recommendation that was made and I've put in place. I'm still fairly liquid on some things. Up at the top, you'll see money market funds held by JP Morgan Securities. There are two of them. One of them is the sweep account. So when you look down here at our general checking account, and this is relatively new, I'd say in the last year and a half, it's zero, because every night whatever's in there sweeps into this money market, and we're earning 4.26% overnight. The other one is actually in JP Morgan Securities, where I have money that I can get to right away, but also earning 4.26%. You'll see a negative on here. This is not the first time this has happened. So this is a reflection of having purchased an investment, and it's actually this one right here. I purchased this on 6/27, but the bank didn't pull the money out to fund it until July 1st. So JP Morgan Securities shows that as a negative that we owe them. I like to point it out. I think this has happened once before in the last couple of years. Typically, it doesn't happen, but I think it deserves an explanation when you see a big negative like that. And there it is. It's just for this. So on July 1st, they took this money out of this account here that has $6 million. That's my investment clearing account. I don't think I talk about that account very often. That's a checking account I set up 7 or 8 years ago. All the investments I do come out of that account. And all the money, and so if I want to take money from the general fund to invest it, it goes there first. All the maturities that come from our brokers, all the dividend income and interest income that's paid, always gets returned into that investment account. It lets everything be a little clearer for our finance department to do the bank reconciliations by having all this investment activity in its own spot. I think that's it. I'll just show you real quick where I've got the longer held. So here I've got maturities in 2030. I've got 4.62%, 4.68%. I think that's all I've got. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Good to go.
Paul, do you ladder the maturities here for the longer rate? And if you do, what's the liquidity percentage?
I do the laddering a lot more in my 1 day to 1 year. That's where my real focus is on the laddering, a lot more than the further out. Because again, I haven't been trying to go out very far because I was getting lower rates. So the plan now, and discussed at our investment advisory committee, is to look closer at that 2 and 3 year window and laddering out. But again, you gotta be cautious to make sure I've got liquidity we need. And we've had a few things happen that I wasn't sure about the funding of. We've now got those special assessments funded. The sheriff's department's gonna be paid, the new fire truck's being paid. Laddering I do very closely in the 1 year range, because that's really where I'm looking at my money to pay the bills every single month.
And what percentage do you know off the top of your head that you usually keep in that liquid 12 months or less?
It's not really a percentage I target, because it's based on what I find out by going into the system and looking at open purchase orders, which is a good spot for me because it'll show me all the purchase orders related to the DPW, so big projects they have going. The fire department will have a PO out there with $1 million fire truck that had to be paid for. The sheriff's department, where we've held their invoices for many months because they needed to make those adjustments. So those are all things that I know had to be there. So the laddering can't just be as a percentage. I have to say some percentage liquid. It's definitely tied to the cash flow. And the cash flow in government is not the same as you go to the private sector. In the private sector, I could throw a pin at something and know where we're going, costs and sales and that. Government is significantly different depending on when projects are going to be started, when a new fire truck's going to be bought. All the sales happen basically in 3 months, December to January, when we collect the township's taxes. And so for the public, there's 2 tax bills that come every year. The summer tax bill, that's all money for other taxing authorities. So those funds that come in between July and the end of the year that are the summer bill, that money's immediately going out to the schools and the county and the library and that sort of thing. The money we collect on the winter tax bill, which is the smaller, that's the money for the police and fire primarily, and then again, probably close to 80% of it. The other 20% is we do everything else, Parks and Rec and running the township building, running the different assets and things we have, so. Does that help? Any other questions? Very good.
Thank you. All right, carryover, there isn't any consent agenda.
Yes, there is.
Carryover, says
No
none.
consent.
Pardon me?
You said there was no consent agenda?
Oh, I meant carryover, there isn't any consent agenda, I was just waiting for him to show. 1, request to approve the Board of Trustees regular closed session meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2025, and regular meeting minutes of August 5th, 2025. Item 2, request to approve the August 12th, 2025 check run including ACH of $204,489.55 and ratify the August 1st, 2025 payroll for $395,993.86. And the third item is to request to approve cancellation of the Board of Trustees regular meeting for November 4th, 2025. With that one, I just want to add a note because the MAFE on that was not as descriptive as I think some people would like to have seen. The reason why it's being canceled is because we have an election and we need this room on that Tuesday in order to have it secured and everything else, and there isn't anywhere else for us to do it. So that's why the meeting was canceled. Can I get a motion, please, to approve the agenda, consent items?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Items removed from consent agenda, there isn't any regular business. Okay, on these items, We're going to go through. I will go through, recognize the audience, give them a chance to come up and make any comments they want to about the items on the agenda for that specific one. Understand again, name, address, you're restricted to 5 minutes, and the board does not respond. Once we go through the audience here, we'll go online. Once we close that, we'll bring it up to the board. But to give everybody context, we'll go through and we'll let Mr. Oppman deal, the Director of Planning, deal with the first item, which is request to approve special land use and final site plan approval for Eagle Ridge Estates Phase 3.
Good evening, board members. This is a very long project. It started in 1994, and there's been various amendments through the years up until this one. And there's 230 total units that will be in Eagle Ridge Estates, or Eagle Ridge at Morgan Lake. And it's based on four different phases. So this is phase 3 of the project. Phases 1 and 2. 1 is built out, 2 is built out, and they also have a little bit of an amendment. And again, it's naming convention gets changed because of ownership and so forth. But Clearview Homes is the active developer at the moment. And this is a request for phase 3 only. And the phase consists of 35 single-family homes. And when we review a project such as this that already has set permit conditions, set a PRD plan, which I provided to you in the packet to show basically the general layout of the project, it's essentially already gotten conceptual. So this is a final site plan. And we're reviewing it based on its consistency with the actual the PRD plan and the permit conditions. So this went through the Planning Commission, and one thing to note is that with planned residential developments, PRDs, they're similar to PUDs, planned unit developments, where the Planning Commission makes an actual recommendation to the Township Board for an approval. In this case, it's not, it's a little bit different in that it's a special land use. Normally, special land uses stay with the Planning Commission. They make the final decision on special land uses, but in a PRD, that's made by the Township Board. So it's a little unique, and this is formally a public hearing because it has to be posted and everything like that. So the audience will have their chance to speak. So in reviewing this plan, the Planning Commission and the consultants reviewed this, and they found it generally consistent with the PRD plan and the permit conditions. And so they recommended approval at their June 12th Planning Commission meeting. So the request for you tonight is a recommendation to approve the special land use and final site plan.
Okay, thank you. All right, I would like to open up public comments in the audience. Does anybody have one? Please, sir. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Justin Chmielewski. I live at 5492 Morgan Lake Drive. I'm not here to oppose the approval of the project. As Mr. Morocco is aware, I've been at the Planning Commission meetings addressing this approval as it's moved through the process. My reason for being here tonight on behalf of myself and my wife and a number of other residents in the community is really to address the traffic problem that this new phase in the development will present. I live in what's recognized by the township as phase 2 of the development. That is the first phase of Eagle Ridge at Morgan Lake, or Eagle Ridge Estates, I'm sorry. There was an addition placed into that phase, so there was more homes built behind me. And it's interesting, it's important, I think, to go back to what Mr. Oppman said, that this development plan is 30 years old. And it really, when this began, this was contemplated as a golf course with a much lesser density of homes than exists right now. And really things haven't kept pace. The issue is that through the construction of Phase 2, a litany of problems have developed throughout the neighborhood. It's just shy of 3/4 of a mile from the entrance on Maybe Road to my house. It's another 1/4 mile into the proposed construction area for Phase 3. There's one entrance into this entire development. And through this, we've experienced road signs owned by the HOA damaged, properties damaged, yards driven over. Kids in the neighborhood haven't really been able to play in their front yards or haven't really been able to safely walk down the street because of a steady stream of construction traffic. Everything from speeding contractors to 100,000-pound semi-truck loads for earth-moving equipment, concrete, you name it. Whatever it takes to build a house has to come in one way as it sits right now. With these 35 new homes, that's 35 sets of equipment that need to come in, of materials that need to come in, bricks, lumber, windows, concrete for basements. We haven't even talked about the roads yet and all the gravel that needs to come in on those. It would be nothing to get to 500 truckloads just in this phase. And I bring all of that up because it presents a significant safety issue to the 70 homes from the entrance to the proposed area for Phase 3. There are 70 homes on that route. And I would estimate somewhere around 100 children on that route. There is an access point as part of this project. There's actually two. I'm going to speak of the southernmost access point that comes in right off of Roar Road. It's owned by the developer. It's owned as part of the land that is this project and is this phase. As it stands right now, that access point is restricted to emergency vehicle access only. It's protected by a gate near Roar Road. It's separated from, it runs between two privately owned residences. It's separated on either side by a fence and vegetation, or vegetation depending on where you are around that way. This would allow Clearview direct access from a county maintained road into a job site without risking all of the safety of those 70 homes on the way in, and more importantly, without damaging roads that we as the residents are on the hook to pay for as a private road. This would go from a county maintained road directly into a job site and directly out. There is an easy path in and out. And more importantly, Mr. Kniesny has been on record at the Planning Commission meetings in favor of this. As he said multiple times, it would make his life a lot easier as well. I anticipate that at some point in the comment tonight, you will hear from one of the two residences that are on either side of this access road, the road that I'm suggesting we open up solely for construction traffic. I'm not asking for a pass-through. I'm not asking for I'm not asking for another permanent entrance. I'm asking for that gate to be moved to prevent cut-through traffic and to allow construction traffic to be into the neighborhood. And I'm asking that on behalf of myself and the 70 homes from Maybe on the way in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? No? Okay. How about online? Anybody online? Yes, there is. Well, I can't read that far away.
SS.
SS.
Hello, my name is Sergio Sarmiento. I live at 4578 Roar Road. The path that the gentleman was just discussing, emergency access, 10 years ago, a decade ago, back when we bought our house, we talked to the township, made sure that that access path would only ever be an emergency access. We have kids with disabilities. I'm a disabled Marine Corps veteran, and we were ensured that this would only ever be an emergency access. It wouldn't be a construction access. It wouldn't be anything but emergency access, or we would have never bought this house. We didn't buy a house on a corner, and you're proposing about opening up for construction. Well, you're gonna have to come down Morgan Road, which is 1.5 to 2 miles long, before you even get to Aurora Road. So the roads back here are tore up, destroyed, small, and overgrown. So that is now just shifting the development's construction problem onto everybody else, that this isn't their problem. It's not our subdivision. We don't want to be part of this subdivision. We were told that that gate that's by our front yard that everybody just drives around, walks around, and is pointless, would be moved to the back property line to prevent anybody from disrupting our peace and our privacy. We're not part of your subdivision. We didn't want to be part of it, and we were told that we wouldn't be. But for the past 6 years since they put that gate in, it's been nothing but problems. Cars driving by at all hours of the night. No peace and no privacy from people just constantly walking through our yards. It's not overgrown and it's not have a bunch of vegetation. I can clearly see everything that's going on that path. So we are opposed to that thing being anything other than an emergency access. And the subdivision Clearview, they need to figure out their own access for their construction. They have all that property back there. They can create some construction access back over there and talk to Mount Zion, view some of their access. There's nobody hardly ever in that parking lot. So instead of disrupting a tax-paying citizen of Clarkston for the past decade and our peace and privacy, have them create another entrance somewhere else. So you're not disrupting everybody that's already living on Morgan and Roar before you even get to this proposed construction entrance. It should only be emergency access. Like just the other day, 2 days ago, there was some scrapper guy parked along the back gate just checking out my neighbor's yard, looking to see what he can grab to scrap before I had to go out there and ask him what he was doing. And he said, oh, he was just waiting for somebody, and then drove off. So it's a security issue on top of everything else, because it happens all hours of the night. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online? No? Okay, I'm going to close public comment on this and bring it up to the board. Anybody on the board have any comments? Questions?
I have questions maybe for Brian.
Trustee Hayward?
Sorry. If Brian can, for Brian, did you notify everybody on Roar Road of the potential change, or how many people were notified, I guess?
Everyone within 300 feet of the subject property were notified, so that clipped almost all of Roar Road. It also clipped maybe half of the current phase 2. And also I did speak to Mr. Chmielewski, and I think I spoke to the HOA president. So they were aware of all this, and they knew it was coming after the planning commission, at which they were notified for that as well.
Okay.
So everyone within 300 feet. And it's a pretty large subject site, I mean, in comparison, because it encompasses a lot of area.
Okay. My thoughts are like the person who was just online, which is regarding why would we want to shift the problem from the subdivision onto people on Roar Road that have really nothing to do with this development at all. And I think a lot of the folks that already live in there, when you purchased, you knew that this was going to continue to be developed. I understand there's some other problems, though, that I understand about the construction, and those are private roads and the damage and stuff, and I have looked at some of the packet regarding that as well. And I think that it would be best to have a road maintenance agreement or something like that be written up and not even include these people on Roar Road. When they moved, that really has nothing to do with them. But that's my opinion. And there's some other things too that I understand about this, about the separate HOAs, and that's a whole nother story in itself, but I know it's not on the agenda, so I'm not gonna really speak to it, but those are just my feelings on that.
Okay, I do have to the point, I'm reading in the description on the agenda that their plans do not include and indicate any changes to the entrance at this time. So it looks like this MAF was put together with the fact that this Roar Road was not going to be an actionable item tonight. Is there something I missed? Is it somehow on here now? Because I thought this was just about approving the special land use.
That's what the motion's written for.
It's just a special land use, not changing the entrance or anything else, the purpose of it.
Yeah, no
Okay.
changes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Trustee Morocco.
Yeah, I think we've got some different, we're all looking at it from different angles, but it isn't on the agenda what the big conflicts were, which is the entranceway. So on the planning commission, we didn't make a decision or anything because we'd have to amend the PRD to change that, which then it determines whether or not that's a major or minor amendment, right, Brian, on that, or no? It would just
No.
be a re-amend it. But it
Yeah,
would
it's
come
just-
back to the planning commission for that, to
No.
amend it, just to the board?
Correct.
Okay, which is
Yeah.
why it's at the board level, because the planning commission didn't have the authority to change the PRD documents. But if it's not on the agenda, it's not on the agenda.
Right. And I'm-
There's still an issue with, where are we at with the road agreement? Because that's been a stickler for me for,
No, please.
so for decades, this is, I'm gonna just real quick, when this development was approved, it was supposed to be under one ownership. The developer went bankrupt. Then that changed when the other parcels were purchased by a third party besides the developer, which is what started part of this problem, that now there's no, it's not under the same ownership, which is required by the township on a PRD, if I'm not mistaken.
It is owned by one
Okay,
single
but it's not
ownership.
managed by the same. So how is it that the roads are not aren't, there, what's the
multiple-
legal reason that we keep having this conversation about the maintenance of phase 1 and 2 being separate from phase 3 and 4?
Because they have separate HOAs. That's not ownership, that's just HOA
But when the
oversight.
subdivision was originally designed, wasn't the intent, and isn't that the intent of the PRD, that it's under, that the HOAs worked in unison, that this situation wouldn't happen? Or are you saying that that's,
No, I mean, the HOAs are gonna happen anytime you develop property. So whether they're one HOA or there's multiple HOAs with an umbrella association, that's up to private ownership to decide that. And it's usually written in Mass Deed and bylaws that they have to create an HOA after a certain time period.
so I was under the understanding that when this development was approved, as when it was original, that it was going to be, that we weren't gonna have this situation where we had other developers and other builders cutting through neighborhoods that had no liability or no commitment for the road, which is unique to me from being on the planning commission, that we're accessing these subdivisions through somebody else's subdivision. So is there, and I know that there was a long discussion about Clearview trying to get with them and get a deal, and I thought they were close to something with the HOA. Are we at that point? Has something been worked out? Because it's been a concern of mine from the beginning that we have all this traffic cutting through someone else's neighborhood. And that is what they're doing. They're cutting through someone else's neighborhood.
Let me,
So I guess just some clarity on
just
where
as
we're
a
at
point
with
of
that.
order, I don't see this road maintenance on this item either. So I don't see it on the agenda. So why are we talking about it?
Because it was in the amendment, the addendum from the attorney.
There was a legal opinion about it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not on the agenda as an action
Right,
item.
okay, so let me ask the quick question then. So are those three things, the important things, well, like the entrance, like the gentleman spoke about using the emergency, who's that gonna go before? Who would that go before? Who would make a decision on that then?
Township board.
We would.
Okay, at a later date? I mean, so we're gonna approve this, and then what, contingent on,
It's up to the board to make that decision.
well, that's what I'm asking. So
Okay.
we have those 3 sticking points, so I just wanna know that if we're gonna approve this, or how is that part of it, or is this coming back later? I don't know.
So the way that this agenda item was put together was
Yep.
with the understanding that there was a recommendation from the planning commission, which was to approve the special zoning, special use.
Special land use, yeah.
There was a suggestion from the planning commission about the entrance and the road maintenance, but there was not an actionable item on it.
Right.
So, and we'll ask Dan here, the township attorney in a minute, that's outside their purview to be able to bring something like that to the board. The board actually has to initiate that ourselves.
Okay.
So what we would need to do is put a MAVE together to say that we're gonna do those 2 things. Now, I guess we can sit back and say it could be contingent on the outcome, but as it stands right now, this is the only actionable item.
Well, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't something that we passed, and all of a sudden, they're using the fire entrance,
Yeah.
the emergency entrance and things like that, and we'll say, well, it was.
No, so this would.
That's what
all-
I'm just saying, I know, but I'm just saying, I wanna make sure that's completely clear then.
Yeah. So this is only for the special use.
Okay.
There is permits that, just as an FYI, they still have to go through a permitting process that at that point in time, we can still have to be held up in order so we can address these other items. Okay, so
Yeah.
even if we were to approve this, it doesn't give them carte blanche to, okay, there's still other checkpoints, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yep, that's what I just wanted to be sure.
Not sure I agree with that statement. I do think that if we approve this, they can just go pull building permits and start building.
Well,
They haven't even gone through the construction plan process yet.
Okay, but how does this put any hindrance on them doing it once they just go through that formality?
Well, that formality is probably gonna take a couple months. So, in that time, if the board chose to change or amend the permit conditions, they also have to have agreement from Clearview as the developer to come to the table. So, just because we can offer that, doesn't mean that they don't have to come to the table. So, I mean, if you're gonna have a negotiation, you have to have 2 parties, the township board and Clearview, but if Clearview doesn't agree to change any permit conditions, then that's on them, and we may have a stalemate, so.
So let me say that a little bit differently, just for a second. So in here, they are asking to change the PRD, which only can be done with, I believe, the consent of both parties on the entrance.
Correct.
So as it stands right now, if we approve the special land use, the use of the emergency egress, egress, would stay as it is
Correct.
until the board took action in conjunction with Clearview.
Correct.
Okay. As far as the maintenance on the road, let's assume for a moment the emergency exit thing wasn't even on the table. Is there anything in there that if the township desired to, I guess for lack of a better term, impose this maintenance agreement on them, is there anything that by approving the special land use that would prohibit us in the future from bringing them to the table? I mean, like, I guess the Sam's point is that by approving this, can they go off and run and never have to see us again, providing they don't want to change the PRD?
I think they can proceed with the development.
Okay, so is that yes, they can get all their permits and everything else? Okay.
As
So
long as
there
they
is a
meet the
little-
conditions.
We do lose a little bit there.
So, the point of this is that if they meet the permit conditions,
Mhm.
then they can proceed with development.
Okay.
So if they don't, for whatever reason, then they cannot proceed. So, and they're very well aware of what those permit conditions say and what they mean,
Okay.
so.
I would, if it's okay, can I bring up Clearview just to get their position on some of these things?
Sure.
All right. He was chomping at the bit, so.
Oh, yeah. We've been doing this for years.
Hi, thanks for having me. Eric Knesny, Clearview Homes. Let me just start with the maintenance piece of it, because that should be easily off the table, like instantly. It's, the master HOA agreement is already done. The Morgan Lake HOA, the representatives from Eagle Ridge Estates and myself for the last few months have negotiated, finalized, everything is done, literally ready to sign. We're waiting on the front entry HOA's attorney to receive the EIN numbers for the new entity for the master HOA, and we're all ready to sign. And these two gentlemen who are on the board and the committee can verify everything I'm saying. Want them to. So that should be off the table. I mean, it literally is done. And, I mean, if we really want to go back to the technicality of the PRD and the permit conditions, we already are meeting all of the conditions. There is a maintenance requirement. It's been in place for years. We followed it exactly what was required. Dan's firm has commented on it many times. Brittany and I have talked more than you probably want to admit, and have drawn that to conclusion that it really shouldn't even be being part of the discussion, but it's done. So it really should not be anything that would hinder any of this. It literally is, as soon as their attorney says they have the docs, we're ready to sign.
Okay. Okay,
And if I may.
yep, please.
Well, thank you for bringing us up to speed.
Yeah,
Because
no.
for a decade, we've been talking about
Sure,
this.
yeah.
Trying to make sure that everyone's gonna play nice, because it did get separated, and then nobody was, there was no collaboration, and that's been something that
Yeah, this
has been a
resolves all
huge
of that.
concern. So it doesn't need to be part of this, but it does need to be, if you didn't say what you just said, it's a concern.
Sure,
So
no,
if-
that's why I
I'm
wanted
seeing
to
him
bring
nod,
everybody
and
up to
everybody
speed.
seems to be, but this has been going on for years, that we've
Sure.
been wanting you guys to get together and get this worked out. So
Sure.
I'm very happy to hear that you've
It's
come
done.
to a conclusion. Thank
It's-
you for getting us up to that. So that's
course.
one more hurdle we're over.
So then does that bring us right back? I think we're good. Thank
Okay.
you. That brings us back to just the action item on the land use.
It does.
Okay. So is that
Since
an
you said
agreement? Okay, that was rhetoric, okay. All right, well, can if it's okay, I'll make a,
Just for clarification, so the last sentence of the provided motion, subject to the recommendations set forth in the planning commission motion, that is not the recommendations about the street and the access?
Correct.
Correct, it is not?
There's only one motion.
Yeah, it's only one motion, and if you strike the one motion that was made was for the special land use approval. Mr. Lohmeyer made it at the planning commission. That's the motion, that's what they actually voted on to approve.
So the conditions should remain because those are your consultants' reviews, planning, engineering, and fire.
Okay.
It was
I just-
never a condition, Roar Road.
Okay,
or
I just wanna make
anything.
sure
Okay,
that
no,
that's
the planning
clear.
commission never did that. That was all
Okay, I
pushed
just
to the
wanted
board.
clarification
Yeah.
before we proceed.
all right, can I get a motion on this then, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the special land use and final site plan for the Eagle Ridge Estates at Morgan Lake Phase 3 based on the conditions outlined in the Carlisle Wortman Associates, Inc. report dated July 21st, 2025, the Nowak and Frost reported dated July 25, 2025, and the Fire Department report dated July 21st, 2025, subject to the recommendations set forth in the Planning Commission motion dated June 12th, 2025.
Can I get a second? I'll second. All those in favor?
It's roll
Oh,
call.
call, sorry.
Excuse me.
Clerk?
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Hayward?
Yes.
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Supervisor File?
Yes. All
Motion
right.
carried.
Motion carried. All right, on to the second item. This will be for the request to approve the second reading of a zoning ordinance map amendment for 7165 Sasha Road.
Okay, so we're back for a second reading and approval of this rezoning. The property is currently zoned R1A. It's on the west side of Sashaba, north of Fleming's Lake. There's a little blue house right up near the road. That's the parcel in question. Several years ago, many years ago now, the township tried to do a initiated rezoning of several parcels there. This was one of the holdouts. The previous owner did not want to rezone it at the time. This is transition use to office service. Everything to the north is office service 2. The south, it's still one parcel that's left. That's R1A. But this is in the Pine Knob sub-area of our master plan, which calls for this to be office service residential all the way down the west side there of Sashabaw, north of Fleming's. So this is consistent with the master plan, and the Planning Commission also, just so you know, they revised their policy in the Pine Knob sub-area to allow some residential component, because obviously the office market is not great. So this will be rezoned to Office Service 2 if you approve it tonight. And Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve this, to recommend approval.
Okay. Any comments from the audience? Nope, okay. Any comments online? Nope, okay, I'll close public comments, bring it up to the board. Anybody on the board? Trustee Morocco.
I just want to say from the Planning Commission, we've been really working and focusing on trying to get our parcels aligned with the future master plan. This cleaned up another parcel in that regard, and that's why we supported it, that it aligns with the goals of getting our underlying zoning to align with the master plan zoning. So
Okay.
we didn't have any issues with it, so it was unanimous.
Anybody else on the board? Nope. Can I get a motion then, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading and adopt the zoning ordinance map amendment to rezone a parcel of land located in section 22 of the township, parcel number 08-22-101-017, commonly referred to as 7165 Sashbaw Road, Clarkston, Michigan 48348, from R1A Single Family Residential to OS2 Office Service 2, and direct the clerk to publish in a matter prescribed by law.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Treasurer Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Hayward?
Yes.
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Supervisor File?
Yes.
And Clerk Newbeck, yes. Motion carried.
Motion carried. Excellent. Okay, that closes regular business. There isn't anything on the closed session. Communication, future agenda items and reports. We have a report from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, July 2025, from the Fire Department from June 2025, Building Department, July 2025, from Information Technology Oversight Committee for January 14th, 2025. Do we have any other board member comments?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Question one, do we have a date yet set for our joint meeting?
No, so I am meeting with the chair, or the board chair for the Planning Commission on Thursday morning at 9:30, and it would be our intent to have a couple dates recommendation to the clerk's office by Tuesday of next week. In all likelihood, because I was at the Planning Commission, I heard that the Planning Commission wanted to have it before their next meeting, so it will probably be not next week, but the week after. That should give everybody adequate time to adjust their schedule.
Okay, great.
Okay.
The second question I had, and I just picked up on this, is the possible talk of altering the PUD at Pine Knob to create another exit onto Clarkston Road. Is that something that, is that something being discussed?
The conversation there was because of the fact that come the end of this month, September 2nd, I think it is, they're going to close at least the southbound 15 on-ramp to 75 is really what we're going to be doing. They still are debating on whether or not to close the northbound M15 coming out of the village, southbound I-75 ramp, on-ramp. If they close both, then everything shifts over to Sashabaw. So part of the things of looking at the traffic flow and everything else was not necessarily to redo the PUD, but have a conversation with them, maybe using it as a way for them to come in and just instead of exit. So it would have been a temporary thing that if they were amenable, they would come back. I haven't heard anything back from them. So I think it's pretty much a dead issue.
Okay, good. because I'm not in favor of
Well, it
Clarkston
was-
Road. You know,
it-
for us living there, we're already dealing with a lot. But I did want to make one thing, and I did let some people know, and just so you're aware of it, the barricades at Pine Knob are not adequate. And when I was at a concert the other night, they were literally just driving over the berms into Clarkston Road, just right over the berms into Clarkston Road, lines of cars. No police, no gates were open, just literally over the berms and on the sidewalk, down the safety path and onto Clarkston Road, car after car, and I filmed it all. And that's
Yeah, you could send.
very dangerous and really crazy that that's going on. So
Okay.
I did let the building department know, and I know he contacted them, but when I was at a concert there Saturday night, it still hadn't been addressed.
Okay, I'll get on it.
So I just, it's, yeah, they're going right on over the sidewalk and everything to get out of there with no police presence, so it was getting kind of nuts,
Okay,
so,
thank you.
yep.
Any other board comments? No? All right, then I would like to, someone make a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll support that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting closed at 6:56. Thank you.